Homelander walked around his apartment in the tower, his fists clenched as he angrily bared his teeth. Stormfront sat on the couch with a computer in front of her, trying to calm Homelander down. Apparently, the internets for both of their worlds are now intertwined with one another. This allowed them to get some research done about their new partners. One of the facts they learned was that Batman might not actually have any form of superpowers, which would be funny if not for Homelander's mood. As well as learning the current perception of the League among their universe. The left seemed to be favoring them over the Seven more than conservatives at the moment.
Hey, that's not gonna last. They're outsiders. People gravitate towards their own...
Did you see how the Deep ignored me? He went straight to that crippled fish, looking for his approval.
You really care what some subaquatic deviant thinks of you?
It's not just about the Deep. It's the fact that if he of all people can turn his back on me, anyone can. Especially
Homelander failed to finish his sentence out of anger.
Especially Superman with them. Truth, justice, and the American way, that should be my thing. Mine.
Certainly a good marketing tool. Although the last part no longer appeals to certain demographics, I can see why he changed it from that to a better tomorrow.
What are you doing here?
I thought that I should personally inform you that I'll be stepping out of my position as CEO.
You can't do this. We have a deal.
You don't understand, do you? It's over. The company is over. They know. I don't know much, but the Justice League knows enough. They certainly know you both lied about Ryan, and it's just a matter of time until they know your origins.
He said, looking at Stormfront.
So you're gonna run and hide like a scared child?
Homelander said. Taunting Edgar and walking toward him, Edgar has no reaction.
I will do what's most rational and not throw myself in harm's way, such as you, narcissistic, reckless man-child that you are. Will do. The Justice League decided to hold the entire world under an impossible standard, and they have the means to force it. But it's not their power you should be scared of, it's their divinity. A pantheon of gods watching the world from the sky is everything we sell, but that's just marketing. They have it for real. And once your crowd of fans and...
Edgar addressed Stormfront.
Fanatic, radicalized racists see the comparison. They'll see what you all are. Bad product.
With that said, Edgar walked out of the room. As Homelander and Stormfront angrily looked on. Before anyone could say anything, Homelander heard his phone go off. Homelander went to the phone and answered it.
Hello?
Homelander asked, his anger still fresh.
Hello, is Mr. Wall with you?
The caller asked.
What?
Homelander asked, his rage turned to confusion.
Is Mr. Wall with you?
No.
Oh, pity. Is Mrs. Wall there?
No, who is this?
Homelander demanded.
Oh, for the love of... Are any of the Walls with you right now?
The caller asked, sounding annoyed.
There are no fucking walls here. Now, who is this?
Homelander angrily demanded.
Then what's holding the roof up, stupid?
The caller responded before breaking out into hysterical laughter. Homelander angrily destroyed the phone with his laser vision.
You see?
It was just a prank call.
A year ago, nobody would even think of pulling this shit on me. Now they're starting to think I'm a joke.
Homelander said, his eyes glowing red.
You're exaggerating. Look, why don't you go out and take a walk?
Mallory heard her doorbell go off. Expecting the worst, she looked to see who it was through her home security. At her front door was a large, middle-aged black woman wearing a suit.
Can I help you?
Amanda Waller, Argus Tactical Director.
She remembered hearing the name Argus. It was the name of some sort of international defense organization in the other world. She let Waller in.
What do you want?
Straight to the point.
Why are you here?
My team managed to find some interesting information regarding you.
What kind of information? The kind that will get me killed if I tell you?
Also the kind of information that causes others to disappear if they don't share it, so make this easy.
Mallory paused. This woman meant business.
Did Batman send you?
Waller scoffed.
Trust me, the League and I do not get along, especially with him.
All right, what is it?
Soldier Boy. Where is he?
He's dead. Power plant in Ohio.
Don't insult me. I know that story is just a bunch of horse shit. Allow me to be specific. Nicaragua, 1984.
Mallory paused.
You were a part of the CIA's operation of working with the Contras to smuggle cocaine into black, or should I say low-income neighborhoods. One day, Vought brought their star team at the time, Payback, to entertain them. That was when the Reds and Sandinistas attacked where they allegedly killed Soldier Boy.
Waller said sternly. Mallory was silent.
What makes you think that meat-headed piece of shit is alive? I blacked out and there was no corpse. The Reds probably took it for study.
I have my sources, and I only needed to hear your account of what happened. Thank you, Colonel.
Waller said as she got up.
Before I go, just one thing. How reliable would you say William Butcher, Marvin Milk, Surge, and the new members of your former unit are?
Mallory knew what she meant.
They're far more trouble than they're worth.
I've heard that before. It's never stopped me.
Homelander heard a loud laugh from the Seven's conference room. What he found there was Guy Gardner wearing jeans and a football shirt, drinking beer while watching Homelander Origins. Homelander peeked inside and saw that Ashley was sitting next to Guy, and he had his arm around her. Guy created a little green hand construct and used to grab a beer and a bucket of ice across the room and gave it to Ashley.
This is so bad,
Guy said on the verge of laughter.
How isn't this satire? Don't you guys have something like the Grey Ghost or Warrior Angel here?
What are you doing?
Homelander asked, and Ashley was about to get up, but Guy held her there and told her it's okay.
I'm just doing my job. I'm supposed to be one of the League's contacts here. No reason not to have fun. Look.
Guy showed them the beer.
It's non-alcoholic. This is Bad, the movie, I mean. You should get some acting lessons with your version from my Earth. Not Big Blue, the dude from Banshee. He was fucking badass in that show.
Guy drank his beer unbothered. Ashley stared at his ring like she was looking for protection. Homelander laughed his comments off. He walked around the table and put his hand on Guy's shoulder.
I get it, Green Lantern. Or should I call you Gardner? Not to get you mistaken with the other, well, many others. No powers, but get that pretty little ring to make you special, but not that special. There's a whole bunch of you, and you're not even the main one from your team.
So many of me around. You're probably Superman knockoff number 350 that we've met. I have something more powerful than everything in your world.
Still, you can't beat Superman.
Guy got up, his ring lit up, and his casual clothes turned into his Green Lantern uniform.
You're not Superman,
Guy said. No teasing. He was dead serious.
Homelander.
John Stewart said as he entered the room.
The League organized a little something for your son. I think you're going to like it. Why don't you talk with Manhunter about it?
Homelander measured Guy and didn't break eye contact for a few seconds. He laughed it off again and left the room.
Guy, you're not supposed to be drinking.
It's non-alcoholic.
You should listen to him. Herd lanterns are like the military. He probably outranks you. Even the powerless guy dressed like a fucking flying rat outranks you.
Homelander left the room. Guy wanted to follow him, but John Stewart stopped him.
You're supposed to keep an eye if he went rogue, not provoke him into going rogue.
John mentally told Guy,
I'm sorry, John. He'd usually not faze me, but knowing the shit this prick did, I just want to kick his ass.
You might get your chance later, but right now I can't let you beat the most beloved man in this reality.
All right, I'll cool down.
Guy turned back to his casual clothes and sat back next to Ashley.
Okay, what's next in the marathon?
It's, the Soldier Boy story.
Ashley answered, still scared.
It was nominated for Best Picture.
I love your hair. You know? Maybe I'm biased, but I think redheads are the best looking.
Stormfront looked up from her phone, and to her surprise stood Batman. He entered the elevator, not even uttering a word.
What's up? Want to chat?
Batman stood there motionless, his cape wrapped around him with his back turned towards her.
Yes, actually. There's been something on my mind lately about you.
Batman told her, not even turning his head back to her.
Oh, really? Like what?
Stormfront asked. She was hardly curious, but she felt amused.
Your code name, Stormfront.
Yeah, what about it?
In my world, that's the name of the largest white supremacist news website.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
No, it's not for my liking. Seems there are certain consistencies that I've noticed in our worlds when it comes to non-superpowers, mostly regarding certain topics dating back prior to World War II. For starters, the name comes from the Nazi paramilitary Sturmabteilung. Storm the front has been a popular saying with militant far right-wing groups for decades.
Stormfront was taken aback by this. Her eyes darted around the elevator as she tried to think of something.
Yeah, I can fire lightning from my hands.
She hastily tried to explain.
It's just a coincidence. Haven't you heard of Billy Joel? One of his albums has that as its name. Are you going after him next?
Clara brought up, remembering to use that as a cover.
Really?
Batman questioned, not even trying to hide how unconvinced he was.
Then I suppose I should let you know that your outfit gave me an idea of what kind of person you are.
What do you mean? Is it because I don't look like a supermodel like Miss Wonderful?
Stormfront said, trying to deflect.
No.
Batman told her his voice dropped even more pitches if that was even possible.
Your earrings look a lot like the insignia used by the Waffen-SS. While the eagle looks like the Reichsadler, it even faces left too. American iconography has the eagle facing to the right.
Stormfront could feel the sweat starting to pour down her face, as it felt like her head was starting to constrict around her skull.
I thought it was a cool look. You can't expect everyone to know everything about Nazi Germany.
Really? Then maybe you would like to clear something up for me? I've looked at your record regarding civilian casualties. They seem to be higher in specific areas and demographics, especially during your fight with Kenji Miyashiro you dealt with a while ago. Care to guess what was so specific about them?
That asshole killed those people, not me.
Stormfront defended herself. Despite her irritation, her tone was rushed and indicated she wanted to change the subject.
I never said you did, but tell me something. Why did you think that was what I said?
Batman told her. This time the anger in his voice had grown more apparent. Stormfront's heart basically sank as her mind tried to find a lie. Clara remained silent, waiting to reach the lobby.
I'm waiting.
Her patience had gone through. She was going to kill him. After all, he was only human. She could kill him in any number of ways. It would be like swatting a pesky mosquito after all. Plasma started to form around her fingertips.
One question, if you kill me, what will you tell the League?
Batman asked her, his back still turned to her. Stormfront's rage dwindled and instead, a feeling of shock overcame her. She tried to think of something until the elevator stopped. The door opened up and Batman still stood there.
Your stop,
he coldly told her, practically ordering her to step out of the elevator. Stormfront hesitantly walked out of the elevator. She turned towards the door and saw Batman still glaring at her. The reflective white lenses of his mask practically burned a hole through her and told Clara one thing. I'll be watching you. A sentence she could perfectly hear in his voice, which embedded itself into her mind. The elevator door shut as the elevator went up not long after she stepped out of it. Even then, she could feel Batman glaring at her, which did little to put away her unease. So much so that she dared not to look back at the elevator. Stormfront knew that these other heroes would be a problem. On the watchtower, Maeve was watching Wonder Woman train. Apparently, the Justice League used actual robots as their sparring partners. She took pictures of them and considered sending them to Elena until she remembered why she couldn't send them, let alone contact her. Maeve put her mind back on watching Diana. She lost count of how many she tore apart. When Diana finished, she seemed to have noticed Maeve.
Queen Maeve, what brings you here?
Diana asked, still fighting the robots.
Nothing really. I just wanted to look around your HQ.
You seem unsettled by something.
It's fine. So where are you from?
Maeve lied.
Themyscira. I'm their crown princess.
Maeve was surprised to hear this.
So you're an actual royal? I should have known. Wasn't that a place in Greek myths?
While certain legends are untrue, as a whole, they are not absolute myths in my world.
So you're telling me that you've met Zeus, Hercules, and Medusa?
I can understand your surprise, but yes, I've even fought the last two on some occasions.
Is it true that your island is solely inhabited by women?
That part is true.
You're a lesbian? I thought that would be everywhere if you were.
We don't have such labels in the Themyscira.
Wonder Woman cut a robot with opposite strikes of her sword.
I'm bisexual, by the way.
What kind of relationship do you have with Superman?
I'm already seeing someone, if that's what you're referring to, and he's married to someone else. He's like a brother to me, ever since we've met. What's your relationship with Homelander like?
We're friends.
Maeve said as fast as she could say.
I read you used to date.
That was before I found my truth.
Maeve spat that piece of Vought propaganda.
Look, I gotta get back to Vought Tower.
I see. Before you go, remember that we are stronger than we think.
I wish.
Maeve replied under her breath.
I'm staying here.
Annie told the others as they planned to leave the hotel.
What? All right, take care.
Butcher callously replied,
Kid, I know this is a very stressful day, but why on God's earth do you want to stay here of all places?
He's right, Annie. We need to get out of here.
You were still locked up, but Cluemaster said that Compound V is here. Someone has to stop it being distributed.
I missed the part where that was our fucking problem.
You mean besides the fact this city is full of deranged lunatics who now start a drug trade on Compound V? Frenchie, you, and Kimiko have been in the city the longest. What kind of criminals are we looking at?
Eccentric would be a good word. So far, I ran into a deranged serial killer surgeon, dressed as a pig, and a man-eating crocodile man hybrid.
Did someone fuck a crocodile here?
Huey asked, sounding disturbed.
I listened to the guys in the other cells. Some of them were messed up in the head. Sounded like they worked for some guys called the Penguin, Black Mask, and Two-Face.
Butcher stifled a chuckle.
You're afraid about some cunt who calls himself the Penguin?
Butcher asked Annie.
And I've heard of him. He's where I got the equipment from. I heard he does not take being made fun of lightly, too.
Oh, really? Why's that?
There was a chef who worked at a 5-star restaurant. Until one day he laughed at the Penguin. Penguin proceeded to fuck over the chef's life. He lost his job, loved ones, home, and his life, all because he laughed at the Penguin.
Even Butcher seemed surprised to hear that story of ruthless pettiness.
You really want someone like that with Compound V?
Well, it's a good thing he's not a scientist.
A lot of the criminals here were former scientists. There's Mr. Freeze, the Scarecrow, and Poison Ivy, to name a few.
You really think a bunch of flight cases wearing silly costumes can outdo Vought's top scientists?
When we were at Sage Grove, Lamplighter told us that Vought was getting close to making it work safely on adults. They could probably get it to the finish line.
Kimiko gestured to the room. No one understood until Frenchie realized it.
The Joker, the one who wrecked the hotel, invented a chemical weapon that makes you laugh to death before making you look like him. It was on the news.
You really want that flight case to get Compound V?
Annie questioned Butcher.
Well, it's a good thing. He's lying low in his circus tent.
Butcher, there's something you might want to see.
Huey said while looking at his phone. The television broadcast began to go haywire. Batman looked outside the room and saw they were all going on the fritz regardless of the channel. He came to the logical conclusion. The broadcast had been hijacked.
What the fuck is going on?
Ashley questioned as she played with the remote. The static was then replaced by maniacal laughter as the picture started to clear up, revealing a giant Joker playing card. Batman's eyes opened briefly out of concern before turning to his usual scowl. The Joker had come to this world.
Live from New York, it's the Clown Prince of Crime!
A rather high-pitched and energetic voice announced. Maniacal laughter included.
Joker.
Batman angrily muttered to himself. The camera zoomed out as he appeared on a theater stage, showcasing his white skin, red lips, and green hair, all dressed in a purple suit with an orange button shirt, green vest, and a blue bow tie. He had a matching purple fedora atop his head and held a cane with a gilded jester head on it. As usual, his lips stretched to a smile. The Seven looked briefly confused by the Joker's appearance, except for Homelander, who appeared to recognize his face at the press conference and realized he prank called him earlier.
One of yours?
Maeve asked Batman.
The worst of them,
Batman told her bluntly. Though Maeve could feel the visible rage emanating from him, Seeing the usually stoic and unflappable Leaguer like this made her spine tingle.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the Joker. Now you've all known my co-star, Mr. Doom and Gloom, Batman.
Joker said while putting his fingers on both sides of his head to mimic the ears of Batman's cowl.
So I felt it was time for the true star of the real dynamic duo to show up and spread my brand of comedy.
He waved at the camera as he walked back and forth before staying to the right. The camera followed him as he revealed someone else pointing his cane at her.
And this is my gal pal, Harley Quinn.
Joker said, introducing his cohort dressed up in makeup and her usual black and red Harlequin getup. Quinn jumped and waved at the camera like an excited child, but before she could speak, Joker cut her off as he pulled the camera towards him.
Well, with introductions out of the way, I'd like to tell you all about the present I brought to your city. And by present, I mean bomb.
Joker announced as he paced back and forth on the stage. This announcement instantly gained the attention of everyone in the room, all except Homelander, who was still sitting and resting his feet on the table. An arrogant and amused smile was on his face.
That's right. I've placed my own little worm in the center of this big apple.
He warned as the clown pointed to a monitor with his cane.
Now, before you all get your knickers in a twist about where my explosive friend is, don't worry. Harley.
Right away, Mr. J.
Harley said as she turned on the monitor behind them, revealing the bomb's location. Times Square. A giant birthday gift box opened itself, revealing the bomb. The people nearby instantly panicked and ran away from it.
There it is, all safe and cozy, which won't be said for any of you within the next 2 or 3 city blocks. So, here's my only demand. I want Homelander to disarm it.
An image of Homelander appeared on the monitor as Joker gestured towards it.
Sorry, Bats. I know you must feel all left out.
Joker feigned sympathy as he bowed his head solemnly.
It pains the both of us,
he said, placing his hat on his chest as Harley began to blow her nose in a tissue.
It's a dirty bomb. Looks like the same ones from last year.
Batman thought to himself upon noticing the bomb. It did not take long for him to realize what Joker was planning. The bombs would detonate if struck with something of extreme heat like a blowtorch.
This guy's fucking serious?
Homelander questioned, feeling slightly amused while still lounging on his chair.
He is.
Batman told him bluntly.
Wow, real ominous.
Homelander joked in a smug manner.
This is serious. He's calling you out.
Batman warned him, doing his best to maintain his cool.
Yeah, you should take Bat's advice when it comes to Laughing Boy. He's a lot more dangerous than he looks.
I'm the Homelander. He is a fucking clown. He can't kill me.
He knows that. His real targets are those in the crossfire. He wants to humiliate you. In his evil and deranged mind, everyone's a target of his sick brand of humor, regardless of how powerful they are.
Really, what's the worst he can do to me?
Homelander smugly told Batman.
Now, at first glance, I thought your flyboy was just another bargain bin Superman. Another smiley, cape-flying, spandex-wearing do-gooder fighting for the good old US of A. Blah.
He punctuated that by sticking out his tongue before returning to his cheery demeanor and immediately changing his mood to his usual jovial demeanor.
However, unlike Stupid Man, I found his personal life to be a bit more interesting.
The way he said interesting was in the tone of someone trying to find the right word, and the uncertain look on his face only made it more apparent. This caught Homelander's attention. Ashley's eyes widened in fear as she clutched her hair, as Maeve raised an eyebrow in curiosity. All three were curious about what he had on Homelander.
What do I mean by interesting? Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't know what to make of this first clip myself when I saw it for the first time,
Joker said before letting out a slight chuckle.
So first I'd like to provide some context to what you will see. Roll film!
Security footage from the Seven's HQ began to play. A familiar blonde woman holding a baby carry basket.
Is that Stillwell?
Batman looked at the date on the footage. It was not far off from the day of her death. The video paused as Joker stepped out in front of the video. His smile exhibited eagerness and malice.
Now, I know this clip feels out of place, but patience. With the growing ignorance of the general audience these days, I thought it would be best for you nitpicky buffoons to showcase some context.
Joker said, emphasizing the word context before leaving the frame. Homelander grew tense upon seeing her, which did not go unnoticed by everyone in the room. She took out a breast pump and began to use it until the bottle she used was full. After that, she put the bottle in the fridge. The footage had paused once more as the Joker walked over the footage.
Now, without further ado, I'd like to present this little short film of mine that I like to call Got Milk,
he said before walking out of frame. Soon the footage changed to when renovations of Stillwell's office were underway. The Homelander walked into the office. Batman noticed Homelander's body language in the chair. He was completely stiff. Both of his legs were now on the floor as he saw himself move closer to the desk. He began to lean closer to the TV. His eyes widened in fear. His lips began to flap, repeatedly mouthing the word no as he watched himself opening up the mini fridge. He was holding the baby bottle, still full of milk, which he began to warm with his heat vision. Everyone looked on before feeling different emotions as the Homelander in the footage began to drink from the bottle. First, he stuck his tongue out lapping at it like a dog drinking from a water bowl as he moaned in ecstasy. His arousal was evident, Batman noted to his disgust. Ashley felt dread as she thought about how this would impact Homelander's reputation. No one was ever going to let him live this down. Social media would tear him apart, especially his harshest critics. Homelander and the higher-ups at Vought would blame her for this, she thought, pulling her hair. Plastic Man looked befuddled. His jaw cartoonishly dropped to the floor before he stretched his mouth back. Maeve sat there looking completely unsurprised. She knew all of Homelander's kinks, especially whenever he was with Stillwell. The media would rip him apart, and a small part of her wanted to smile. However, she refuses to do so considering the present circumstances and Batman's warning about the clown. She was starting to think that the bomb was only the tip of the iceberg. Batman had no change in expression, but his anger started to grow. Joker managed to get to Homelander, burrowing into his mind like a tick, and could now easily play Homelander like a violin. People were going to die because of this. On the watchtower, the rest of the League watched on. Most of them stood there befuddled. John remained stoic as usual.
Okay, what are we watching?
Flash asked the others. Guy Gardner, on the other hand, was busy busting a gut. Back in Gotham City, Butcher and the rest huddled around Frenchie's phone.
Is that some kind of fetish?
Huey asked, feeling disturbed.
Don't judge.
Kimiko eyed Mother's Milk, who looked completely put off. MM looked at Butcher. His expression was completely neutral.
You're not at least a little fucking disturbed by this shit?
At this point, there's nothing that Cunt can do to surprise me.
I knew he was interested in Stillwell, so I'm not too surprised.
Joker and Harley popped back on, sitting behind a desk with a pitcher of milk on it. Joker was drinking a glass of it when his eyes practically bulged out, before he turned to Harley and did a spit take. Harley flinched, and a look of annoyance marred her face. She knew better than to fight back, only letting out an irritated,
Hey!
His left hand pinched his temples as his right pounded on the desk.
I know, right? What a weirdo.
Joker said as he got up and moved closer to the camera.
Ooh, and would you look at that? It seems that #GotMilk is already trending at #1. alongside yours truly.
He said as he pulled out his phone and showed it to the camera while holding himself up with his cane. The words on the trending page were Joker, Homelander, #GotMilk, Clowns, Hot Clown GF. Homelander's eyes began to glow red. His fists clenched as he glared at the television. The only thing keeping him from burning down the wall in front of them were thoughts of what he planned to do to the clowns. Joker turned to Harley.
Harley, you used to be a psychiatrist. Got any psychoanalysis or any other Freudian mumbo-jumbo on our friend?
Well, Puddin', if I had to guess, I'd say our friend here has serious mommy issues, which I'd assume manifests in the form of a good old-fashioned Oedipus complex. He's probably in a mommy play, which I'm not judging, of course. Probably wearing a diaper now, too, which I'm judging.
Harley replied, trying to channel her older days as Dr. Harleen Quinzel.
Well, regardless, Milksop is the only one who can stop my bomb. So come on down, homeboy. I just can't wait for you to screw this up.
Homelander immediately flew through the window, both his eyes glowing red, only emphasizing his rage. He immediately flew out of the office window.